Hey, I think that's working. Let me check see if my mic is coming in. Oh, might be doubled, sorry. How about there? Anytime I talk, I see a spike, so we should be good. All right. Shout out in the chat if this audio sounds real trash, and then I'll poke around on the machine there. Thanks for coming. Welcome in to my library. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome to the first stream of 2020 for Frontchill. Ooh, what a year it's been. It has taken about this long to get set up for a proper stream. Let me get situated here, Mr. Rogers style. Anyway, won't you be my neighbor? Today's stream, as mentioned, as alluded to in social media over and over. Let me get my little itinerary here so I don't forget anyone, forget anything. Oh, and don't worry about this here. That'll be explained in a moment. Let's see here, itinerary. Make sure I hit all my talking points. Ah, yes. First and foremost, thank you very much to Doomsayer, Nomad, Yev, and the rest of the crew who helped make Frontchill possible. Let's see here. Oh yes, speaking of Frontchill fam, Koozie Time and Heard Before are a couple gaming nerds that we like to rep constantly. Audio that music feels like it's really loud. Let me bring that down just a little bit. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm pretty sure I'm spiking above it, so it should be good, but just in case, I'll try and speak up a bit. But yeah, Koozie Time, Heard Before. Heard Before has 800 mods. Most of them are people we game with, people you may see here on the Frontchill channel. Heard Before is on a slight break till the end of the month, but Tuesdays and Thursdays he usually streams starting August. And then Koozie Time has sort of been filling the void in between then, usually Wednesday nights, but it was a big old golf stream last night, Friday night, with Danbot, Koozie Time, Yev got up in there, and I think Cam something, I don't know what his handle is yet, but I know him IRL, so I know he was up in there. So this is the first of a few weird, non-traditional streams that I've got set up. And basically you're going to watch me do chores. Yes. So I've had this task sitting in front of me for some time, not literally, but figuratively, and I talked to some friends about it, and they were like, dude, that would be rad to do it on stream. So what we're doing today is the format is technically just chatting, as here we are doing the thing, doing the chat. But what I will be doing to fill the space, the empty void of space and time that we inhabit, which is a flat circle, which is something one of my very dear friends likes to say all the time, is we're going to clean my blades. Now, for those of you who are new, don't know, what have you, don't get it twisted. I am a bit of a blade enthusiast, and when I say blade, I mean things with blades, like pocket knives, hunting knives, survival knives, swords, all that good stuff. And that is because ex-Boy Scout, well, rather Boy Scout, you know, who has aged out, and I'm getting out all my gear here while I chitty chat, so you know, just chill, check it out. So yeah, Boy Scout, JROTC, pseudo prepper situation. Oh, I knew I forgot something. I forgot. Oop. I forgot one of my most essential tools. So as you can see, I'm sort of laying out all the goodies here that I usually use for cleaning. Because another thing I used to do, besides scouts and the pseudo prepper mentality situation, I'm a theater nerd, which means a lot of things actually. But one of the aspects of my theater nerddom is fight directing, stage combat, fight choreography, and I would put myself as somewhere between a dilettante and a professional fight director. I have been paid to do such. I have a spotless record of injuries, as in I haven't had any. Stage combatant, fight director, fight captain. That's where you run the fights before a show to make sure everyone's in tune, looks clean, etc. Sort of like the tech who runs boards for lights and sound, but for fighting. And as such, I have a small collection of functional, non-functional, practical weaponry. I have some swords of various types. I have a bunch of pocket knives, just collecting them over the years. And shout out to my AG OGs, Armageddon Oak Ridge, Armageddon Valley Fair, sorry, Valco. I used to work at a shop that sold this stuff, so anyone who knows when you work at a place, you can't help but get caught up in the culture, and well, I was a goner from day one, so that didn't help. I also have a special guest appearance from a very special blade we're going to crack open a little later. We're going to work up to that. Buddy of ours, Epion Avenger. He's a bit of a rare spawn. He shows up. He may show up at some point, but he tends to be an elusive figure. He has a blade, a very nice one. We're going to bust it out a little later. I let him know I was doing the stream, and he was like, oh yeah, I should do that. And I was like, well, I wouldn't mind putting it out on the stream if you trust me with that. And he's like, well, of course. And I was like, cool. So we're going to show that off in a little bit. I got 2 more things to grab. Chill out. Enjoy the music. It's free. One sec. Pay no attention to the rickety rattle. I have a gate up at the door to my library, as I have 2 cats. And 2 cats, well, one of them is a perfect angel, the other one less so. And the less so is very curious about what's going on, so we're trying to keep him from coming in, as cats and blades don't typically mix. So, alright. But yeah, speaking of which, I think we'll start off with a couple of my more challenging pieces to give you the idea of what's going on here. So because I have a small collection of what I call practicals, items that you can use practically on stage, not necessarily sharp. Oh, I lost my earbud, and I don't know where it went. Oh, I'm sure it'll show up in a bit. Is it in the... Aha! There it is. There we go. Put the large caps on. I think they're too big, so they don't sit properly. So I'll just keep jabbing myself in the ear as we go along. So, if you've never if you've never cleaned a blade before, we're going to get into it a little bit. And disclaimer, I do consider myself a professional, and I and many people I know consider this the way to do it. But something I like to tell everyone I do, because I've done panels and talks and coached and that sort of thing, don't trust me. Do your own research. You know, find your own people that you trust to be reliable sources. As you know, there's not a lot of empirical evidence for a lot of stuff that I'm interested in, as it's just sort of practical knowledge. So if you see something that you're like, that doesn't seem right, I don't know if I trust that, good, go figure it out on your own. Find someone you do trust, who you're paying attention to. Still nobody up here to chit chat with me. All right, that's cool. I understand. Let's see, can I get this thing over here? Yeah, just a little more in my field of vision. Sweet. But yeah, top right there, I got some tunes, some royalty-free tunes, so we shouldn't get the takedowns. Yowie Tracks has actually supplied the audio for a couple of the projects on the channel. So let me go through the basic steps here on one blade. We'll chit-chat through a second one and keep mixing it up as we go. So what I like to do first is, during use, humans are sticky and oily and gross. And steel doesn't typically like that, especially when it's a high carbon steel, which practicals and functionals tend to be. There is a huge world of different types of steels and compositions, etc. We may get into some of it. We'll probably get into some of it tonight. And again, I'm a dilettante. I've done my own research, and I haven't published any journals. I haven't done any peer reviews of anything I've ever said, other than my peers agreeing with me anecdotally. But what we like to start with for cleaning, polishing, etc., is you want to get your blade bone dry. You want to get all the gross goo and oils and stuff off of the steel of the blade. So standard paper towel, a lot of that action. You know, just trying to get the little pieces of gunk out where there is gunk to be got. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and admit right now on this one that this particular blade, well, these two and a couple more coming down the pipe, rented out to a high school a couple years back, and I did the no-no. I didn't really clean them right after I got them back, and you know, high schoolers, man. I've worked with high schoolers. I've run a couple shows, assist directed a couple shows. I was a coach, I was a sub, and I was one. So I know that, you know, they're not always as fastidious as one might hope, and shit gets broke. But you know, that's all right. You know, I acknowledge fully that part of the rust, the oxidization on these bad boys, is in part because I didn't take action as soon as I got them back and wipe them down and clean them down. As it is, you can barely see it on this one, but later on you'll be able to see it much better. I'm not going to be done with these once I clean them. I'm going to have to get a rough grit stone and take it to a couple of these to get out the burrs and nicks that have come along the blade from blocking, because a good steel is high carbon. Well, sorry, don't quote me. Many practical blades, many blades used for stage combat or stunt work in film, etc., are high carbon blades because they are stronger, they have good tensile strength, that sort of thing. But as a result, that high carbon means their carbon content is higher. And so they are a little more susceptible to rust. What is this? What is this? No, thank you. I wanted Yowie tracks though. Let's see. Well, let's just what is this? What is this? No. Sorry, one sec. Let me see if I can just get... Let's just do this. Let's check the tracks. Yeah, there we go. That's what we were looking for. Okay. Alright. I don't have to pay anybody. Anyway, nicks and burrs and cuts. Right. So, high carbon means that it's a little harder. So it holds its shape pretty well. But you don't want it too brittle, or else it's going to snap and fly around. So when you whack one into another, there is a high potential for pits and burrs and chunks to be thwapped out of the blade. Now, what I'm using here is a metal eraser. It's basically a very fine abrasive block that lets you sort of scrape off that top layer of scratches, which I probably shouldn't be using quite yet because I've barely started, but habits, just got into it. Anyway, so I'm going to go through a lot of paper towels. So trying to get the front line gunk off these bad boys. That lamp is not doing its job. There, a little better. If you get that shine off of it, nice. Like some of these, you can even see the fingerprints of the kids. Yeah, so. Now, another trick we used to use is a mild solvent. Lighter fluid. Dry shit out real good. Ooh. Let's cover that up. I'm riding around. Try and get some more of that grime off. I don't know. I think there are better liquids to use for this sort of thing, but back in Armageddon, the shop I used to work at, rest in peace, Valcomol, we also sold Zippos, and so we had a supply of lighter fluid sitting, available, and like I said, it works as a pretty decent mild solvent to help pull off goop. Sometimes you just aren't paying attention and things get rattled around in a display case and a sticky price tag gets thwapped onto a piece of blade, and then there's that adhesive goop sitting on your nice fancy blade and gotta get it off. So, little bits of grime that it pulls out. It's real nice. But yeah, actually I'm gonna pop out this earbud and see if it turns off on me. No. Okay, cool. I've still got some audio. Good, good. So yeah. So right now I'm just trying to get some of this gnarliness out of the blade, off the blade, so that it doesn't keep oxidizing, pitting out the blade and making it unusable. Because although patina is a fancy word for nice rust, real rust deteriorates your blade, making its structure less reliable, making it an unsafe blade. This. I'm glad I have this much steel eraser here, because this has a lot of grime and goo. It's another reason you should wear gloves when you're doing stage combat and stunt work and stuff. A good fight director, good fight captain should make you wear gloves for your own safety. So in case one of those nice fat chunks that's been taken out of a blade from several nights of fight practice, if it drags across your soft pink flesh, it doesn't take a chunk out of you. But also keep your gross sticky paws directly off the steel, so you don't get these cool little patterns on the blade that I can use to find out who you are, where you live, and what your record is. Aha. Anyway, so working on this, let me go over some of the things about this channel. So we're not just on Twitch. Frontchill also has a YouTube, which we now finally have some videos up. The latest Dysoning a Tark's Crew. It's a D&D 5th edition adventure I'm running for some other nerds I know. We just did a dress-up episode, and it was a ton of fun, so go check that out. The episodes before that are a little rough to watch because of audio issues I had and streaming issues of the virtual meet software we were testing out, but we've got most of those gremlins tamed and should be just as good as the third episode or better. Speaking of which, I keep using some of these terms: Dysoning, the Tark's Crew, that sort of thing. That's because I have a vision for this channel. Oh man, see, look, you can see the difference already just from a few minutes of love. Anyway, the idea is that Frontchill is a bit of an escape. It's definitely a leisure channel and entertainment. And I'm like, you know, I want to make sure that the potential for the channel, I've been calling it a conglomerate because it's several channels and social media, and there's a Discord now, which is, you know, if you want an invite to the Discord, let us know. We'll drop one in. We'll drop one at you. You know, message us, what have you. If you know someone who knows me outside of this channel, you know, I can get you in there. We're not ready to have it public yet, but if you know somebody who knows somebody, we can get you an invite. Anyway, I've been calling it a conglomerate because it's sort of a mix mash and mishmash and mix of these different channels and formats. Anyway, the central focus is gaming, tabletop, video game, etc. And I've sort of lumped a bunch of the stuff into 4 different shows. This is going to fall under the purview of Pip and Pixel, as it's sort of a meta thing. You know, I'm talking about the channel. A lot of nerds are very into weaponry and blades and different things like that. And so, you know, I would definitely consider this one of those type of shows where it's like, this isn't about video games specifically, but it's definitely about, you know, items of interest that are adjacent and related to video games. Because, you know, a lot of video games survive, you know, so Lara Croft, the reboot, she's out in that island finding various tools and stuff to survive. What you call it? The various weaponry and gear you get in different video games. Of course, D&D or Pathfinder or various other games that have complex systems for different types of weaponry. So here we are, and I'm like, yeah, no, this makes sense. This is fun. So here I am. But yeah, so that's Pip and Pixel is sort of the meta show, and the goal is to more often have just a meta discussion about video games and the industry and board games and tabletop role-playing games, and, you know, just sort of go over that content as a discussion overall, because not only do I enjoy playing games, I enjoy talking about games. I want to, you know, I enjoy thinking about them and their purpose and different aspects of them and that sort of thing. And, you know, I think a lot of people want to go into that. Like, you know, the Wizards channel has Lore You Should Know, which sort of breaks down, you know, in-character / out-of-character lore for various organizations and entities. And, you know, a lot of the board game things I follow, they talk about systems and mechanics and how they interplay with each other. And then, you know, video games, oh dude, you know, I occasionally follow a podcast called The Psychology of Video Games. Shout out to Anthony Madigan. You know, he definitely is talking about how board games affect us as a society, sociologically, etc. Apparently there was a whole book written by multiple credited people in the psychology field that about the psychology of Zelda across the various games, and I'm like, yes please, that. Alright. Okay, so this blade is far from spotless, but I'm going to call it good for now, because I want to get onto this other one. I want to get onto some other blades. Oh yeah, you might be like, Tony, Hatter. Hi, sorry, Tony here. I go by Hatter on all the socials. Sorry, at H47 on Twitter, at H4773R on the Instagram, or just follow Frontchill. I'm as of right now, I'm very involved in the social team, keeping that up. So if you have questions there, hit me up. Yeah, you might be like, dude, what is that? What is this funky blade just sitting there all derpy? Well, this is a blunt, unedged. I use the term practical to refer to items that can be used in a combat situation that are not intended to be dangerous, typically used for stunt or stage. And this is a practical scramma sax, or sax. I've seen it spelt a bunch of different ways because the English alphabet translation to the Norse is a little funky, and basically it's a short blade that could be used as like a chopping tool or a work tool, and you would wear it basically as your everyday knife, and it's got a nice handy back sheath so you can chop your stuff and be good. Let's move on to some of the other stuff. The little blurb I got when I ordered these, when I purchased them, was that scramma saxes were typically worn by archers to be a short maneuverable blade and keep down weight, while still being able to carry a quiver and a longbow to be a ranged force as part of a military unit. I use that as anecdotal information, as the place I purchased it from was trying to sell you something, not necessarily trying to teach you something. I mean, if I've ever sold you anything, I try and do both. You know, I'm like, I think the truth is much more interesting, more compelling story-wise, typically. So, you know, information rooted in accuracy is the best. So, okay. So, I've done a bit of scratching to it. I've tried to get everything off, but to help get even more off, that's what this bad boy is for. This is talc powder. We call it the rice ball, and you bap this bad boy along the blade. Whew, been a while. To get a nice spattering of talc along the blade. This is to pull up all that gunk that's in that blade, because steel, is porous. Some steels are more porous than others, but its compound is, its structure is absolutely complex, which means that it's going to have little tiny holes in it, which is how it grabs your finger goo and starts to rust. It's because those liquids and those oils get into those little nooks and crannies and start to bond with the carbon and oxidize, causing rust. So I'm gonna get it nice and bone dry. Try and get the rest of that goop out of there, as much as I can anyway. So we've got a nice breathable steel, because once we have the steel nice and open and able to breathe, we're going to seal it back up. I'm going to show you how in a second. Nice. Okay. Now what? Now's the fun part, or at least in my opinion. This is one of the sexier parts of the process, if you ask me. We're gonna oil the blade. Now I've seen other professionals use like 3-in-1 gun oil, all kinds of fun stuff, but dude, when you work in a blade shop that sells genuine antique katanas from Japan, use koji oil. I might be pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. It might be choji. But what it is mineral oil with clove in it. And the aroma, oh, it's, you know, some people might think, ugh, clove, hipsters. But dude, this stuff, like, joking, not joking, every so often a couple of us would just use that as like aftershave and be like, oh, yeah, we're those nerds. So, it's good stuff. So, I put a little bit on the paper towel so I'm not just splashing it around on the blade, and so that it's got some saturation and it's transferring into the blade. Touched it. Bad me. I know I'm greasy. This room doesn't have any AC in it. I just got a fan, a good fan. Shout out to Ski Epic, borrowing one of the fans from work. And then I have the AC pointed at this door from a hallway, trying to keep two different rooms at a reasonable temperature. You can just barely see the saturation at the edges of the blade, where the oil is starting to pull into the blade. It's thirsty. Not in the blade is thirsty. No, this blade is parched. It's grabbing that mineral oil, and it's lapping it up, which is great. That'll help seal the steel and keep greasy human goo from getting into it again, or other particulate in the air. I'm actually going to tap it on a little bit. You can see the little bleps as it is a pretty good consistency liquid that coats real good. Oh, I missed this. It's been too long. And yeah, just like when drying it off and starting the cleaning process, you're just trying to work it into every little, you know, whatever's smaller than a millimeter, micrometer, I forget. Good job. You can see how it's sort of grabbing parts of the paper towel there at the tip because there's a big old notch in it. Ugh. I'm gonna have to get a hold of my buddy Shamrock. He had it's a buddy of mine that we invited, or we hired him as soon as he turned 18 to the shop, because he was a younger guy who had to constantly bring in his parents to buy blades for him. But because he was such a blade nerd, and he was pretty mature for his age. See? So let's see if I get a good angle. Yeah, it's no magic to it. It's just, other than the ritual of cleaning the blade. But yeah, my buddy Shamrock, he was a huge nerd. He had his own little, he has his own little forge and grinding wheel. Might have to take these out to him. And oh hey, welcome. I didn't see when you posted that question on what type of blade it was. These are Scramasaxes. Let me see. So let me type it out in the chat. Go ahead and Google. Drop an A from that. Go ahead and Google that. That should give you the basic idea. I did a little bit of an explanation on it a little earlier. But yeah, Scramasaxes are short Nordic blades. I forget the exact country of origin. But yeah, they're typically just used as a utility knife. This was not necessarily a weapon to be used in combat, but used to, like, you know, field dress an animal, that sort of thing. So yeah, so we're going to do the same thing again. This one is not quite as bad as that other one, with a couple exceptions. So we'll go ahead and get it started. But yeah, if you're joining back in, welcome, welcome. This is what it's gonna be. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, good, good, good. Just gonna keep trying to listen to the universe and try and blabber on when I sense something needs to be answered, and keep checking over my shoulder as to what's going on. All right, there we go. Cool, cool. But yeah, so if you showed up when I started explaining what it was used for or what it was typically associated with, let me go ahead and recap a little bit that what I'm doing here is agreed upon by many individuals I consider professionals and experts on how to clean a blade, or one of several ways to do it. But do your own research. Don't trust me. I'm just a goofball with a channel on the internet. I can point you to various resources if you're like, but I don't know what experts to ask. So, you know, hit me up on social, and we can chitty chat about blades and swords and stuff. It's really fun. You may have also missed that the reason I have a flat-edged blade is because these are these are stage blades. I refer to them as practical. When I use the word functional, that means something used for cutting or martial arts. And these were loaned out to a high school a while ago, and my dumb butt didn't clean them right away, and now I'm paying the price, because if I really wanted to, I could probably track down the high schooler that matches this thumbprint, but I wouldn't, because it's my fault for not cleaning them right after I got them back. So yeah, I use the talc here, the rice ball, as we would call it back at my old shop, to get powder on it, to get all that goo off. And you can kind of see it. Good times. Let's see here. How's this one? This one's cleanish. Yeah, clean enough. Cool. Let's hit this with the solvent. Wow. You ever get those inside jokes between you and your friends, and you use them so long, so often, that you forget that it's an inside joke with a certain subset of friends? That just happened. You were just witness to it. So as evidenced by everything else on these channels, I play D&D. I'm that nerd. I roll dice. And back in the day, God, that was D&D 3.5, I think. We were playing a campaign where someone found a container of basically, it's like something magical adhesive or something, and one of our buddies just shouts, "Glue!" And that was the funniest thing at that moment. You know, you're you had to be there, sort of thing. Glue, right? And so later we found, and these are actual items in the 3.5 system, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure there was a way to reverse the glue, and of course all of us just shout at the same time, "Solvent!" Because that's how you break down the glue. And that's basically what I'm doing here. Lighter fluid, being the wonderful stuff that it is, actually makes a fantastic solvent to help break down some of those oils and gunk that might be on the blade. Just ripping off a fresh piece here to pull the rest of that off of there. And it, honestly, the amounts that we use, just dapping it into a paper towel, has never done anything funky to a blade I've ever seen. So as long as you're careful with it, don't spill it all over yourself, you know, that sort of thing. Stay away from flames and potential sparks, etc., of course. Because, you know, if you're handling blades so much that you're cleaning them, hopefully you have a modicum of safety awareness. Anyway, so that feels good. I'm gonna tap it once more just to get there at the base, the forte of the blade, to try and get some more of that gunk out. Greasy teenager, all stuck up in there. Oh yeah, going back to format. So the idea on the channel, just, you know, gaming in general. So there was Pip and Pixel, which is the sort of meta discussion, the over conversation about games in general and the state of the industry. That's cool. So if you see something tagged as Pip and Pixel, you're in for that sort of thing. Or something kooky like this, where it's adjacent, but not necessarily gaming itself. I've also got plans for a show called Box Fort, which we're gonna do all of our board gaming on there. I've got a video set aside from pre-quarantine that I might release later, where me and my wife and my coworker Dink. If you see Dinkles up in the chat anywhere, that's your boy. He's our token Swede. Actually, no, we've got a couple. Heard Before is also of the Swedish persuage. But Dinkles is OG. He's from the motherland. We played a board game called Deep Dive or Ocean Dive, something like that. It was entertaining. JC blasts out the speakers because she's super loud. That's my wife. She's rad. So that's Box Fort, board gaming. A lot of us nerds are into that, so we're hoping to get some more of that together. It's a little more difficult nowadays, but Tabletop Simulator, Board Game Arena, and the various things you can use to actually game help make that possible while everyone's sheltered in place. Or I've heard of a thing recently called Corona Covens, or COVID Covens, where you basically agree to death pact with a bunch of people, or with a handful of people, to just basically shelter in place with each other and no one else. Which, I feel like that's cheating, but if you make it work, alright. Anyway, so I feel like this blade's pretty good, but there's still some gunk on it, so I'm going to use the metal eraser here to try and lift some more of it off. Hope against hope. So yeah, that's Box Fort. Box Fort, Pip and Pixel. What else am I doing? I got next. For those of you who were ever part of the arcade culture, or just, you know, LAN / console, you know, friend group console gaming, you know, shouting "I got next," putting your quarter down on the machine to denote that you are indeed the next one in line to play. Sort of a callback to those glorious days, which don't exist so much right now, but aren't entirely a thing of the past. Yeah, there you go. Yes, yes, Shave Bear. I think I answered that bit about TTS and Game Board Arena. Nothing scheduled currently for Box Fort, but mostly just because a lot of board gamer friends that I have are like, it's not the same if it's not real, and I'm like, I know, I know, trust me, I know. But I am also the type of nerd who plays Twilight Imperium, and it's hard enough to get a game of that together in real life when there's no restrictions. I'm like, yo, let's just log on and throw virtual plastic around. And I've actually managed to get in a, I would say, one full game, technically, of Twilight Imperium. Sorry, cumulatively one full game. I only got in 3/4 to 7/8 of a game before I had to bail for another event I had planned, on top of a one-round game that a few of us did before that to test the waters and see if we considered TTS viable. And already got another one scheduled, so should be good for that. And then yeah, COVID Coven, I'm gonna go ahead and call that. I'm gonna claim that one. That was me. I came up with that. You know, I was like, COVID clan just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound okay. But I had heard of these situations where people are like, okay, me and my neighbors, you know, we're not socially distancing with our neighbors, but that's it. You know, and that way, you know, we know if one of the other is a thing, and I'm like, all right. I don't know if I necessarily would do such a thing, but I don't really like all my neighbors, so that's not true. I like my neighbors on the end. They're nerds. We've hung out. We've had them over. They're cool. But spoilers. Even though I have a library, it's just a second bedroom that we don't use. Well, it's the cat's bedroom. We live in a complex, so yep, glamorous behind the curtain stuff. Anyway, heard before. Oh, that's that other Swede I was talking about. Well, he's Merkin first, but also Swede in there. Thanks for stopping by, Herd. Glad to see some other homies up in the chat. Was repping you earlier, yeah. If any of you don't already know, now you know. Heard Before is coming back Tuesdays and Thursdays in August. He's taking a little break right now, watching my streams. And then of course, Koozie Time is one of Heard Before's mods. Is also getting back into the stream lifestyle. And if I'm watching a Koozie Time stream, I'm definitely screaming Harufu Boyfriend, because listening to him do the voice acting for birds in high school is everything I ever wanted. So as we ramble on, that's Box Fort, that's Pippin Pixel. Oh yeah, I Got Next. We're doing a lot of I Got Next right now because of our friends like Heard Before, Koozie Time, Danbot. A lot of us are stuck at home with our computers, so we're playing video games. Yeah. And so of course, I Got Next, feeding into that gamer culture. And spoilers, you heard it here, don't tell anyone. Next month, I'm going to be building a new gaming rig on stream. And I'm going to have a couple real life friends who've helped me with machines before yelling at me on Hangouts, as well as a stealth assistant in the shadows yelling at me off screen. It'll be great. Anyway, so I think I got a good chunk of that goo out. Not a lot. I think I'm gonna have to hit that with like a stone or something to really get that grime off and then polish it down, because honestly, when pitting gets far enough into a piece of steel, and me spitting on it doesn't help. When pitting gets far enough into a piece of steel, you're gonna have to use that whole thing to just grind it out. It's like they're like eyes in a potato. At a certain point, you're just gonna have to go around them, and you pray that taking out that little bit of steel is not going to affect its structural integrity. And if you have any doubts on its structural integrity, you retire that blade. Use it as a display piece, or sell it, or break it down, or repurpose it. I do love watching videos of when someone has like a full-length sword, but it's all janky and it's gross and grody, and they go, okay, and then they chop it the F off and turn it into like a dagger or a knife or something, and I'm like, yes, so good. Anyway, back to the sexy part. The koji oil, yes. And by the time you're on to hitting a new blade with koji oil, it's dried out a little bit, so you can apply again. Is the camera picking up that saturation? Those dabs? Bam! Dabbed. I did it. You didn't see it coming, but it happened. Haha. I dabbed on him. So there we go. And then you want to pinch into the fuller, into the blood groove. I hate that term. It's not. It like I've heard legit professionals be like, it's so the blood and the thing. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Maybe I'm willing to believe it, but I don't. I haven't heard anyone actually say that I've believed honestly. No, it's cut down weight. You know, you got a 2C thick blade at the spine, coming down to a much shorter edge, and something like this is a fucking brick at the end of your hand. So you want to take out some ounces so that it balances right, so that you're not exhausting yourself swinging it around, and you know, without hurting the structural integrity of the blade. So that's honestly what those are about. Whoop. Pressure. Besides, because if that was the case, why wouldn't they put it all the way up to the tip where you make contact? Anyway, my own gripes. Once again, shameless disclaimer. Don't trust me. Don't listen to me. I don't know why you're here. Do your own research. Find your own heroes. Find your own professionals. I don't know. I just got paid to do it a few times in my life, as well as studied it for several, at least 2 decades, which might be spoilers on how old I am, but whatever. All right, cool. So, 2 blades down. Oh, let me close up my koji before I start swinging things around. Otherwise, I'm gonna have clove all over my library. There we go. Yep, dabbed on them haters. You can't catch me. Is there something in there? I wouldn't be surprised with the high scores. Nope, we're good. Okay. Moving on. I got next. Pip and Pixel, Box Fort, rad, good times. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna set these down and get another one. Let's move into something more common, something you might see hanging around. Yeah, here we go. A couple of my own pocket knives. So let me give you a little breakdown here. Okay, so this is a Kershaw Cryo. They came out with these back in 2010, somewhere around there. Designed by Hinderer. For those who aren't huge blade nuts, Hinderer is a high-end blade designer, and sort of this finger tab and sort of this chunky design is a bit of a common but pseudo trademark to his designs. And he did this collab with Kershaw, which means you can get a Hinderer for less than $500. This was like $40, which is great. You know, you can lose it or break it, and you're like, okay, I didn't break my $500 knife that took a 6-month wait list to get. But the only thing I hate about it is what Kershaw's very well known for is its assist. Now, those of you not familiar might be like, that's an auto. No, it's not. It's an assist. As you can see, it's not pushing itself open. It has what's called a torsion bar in one of the handles, which, when the bias towards closing is pushed past by touching the steel of the blade, as you can see, this finger tab is the same one, it engages that torsion bar. You see how it's pushing back on me from about, what's that, about, let's see if that's about 30 degrees to 85 degrees. You know, that's the assist of the opening. So in full motion, flick, right? I hate them. I can open one-handed without it. if you keep it clean right, you can flick a finger tab well enough that'll one-hand it open on its own. But I haven't had the heart to go in there and break it or whatever else because I just don't have time, don't care. Anyway, this one's gonna get a basic cleaning. I'm not gonna do too much fancy with it. I carried a lot. I'm not gonna open it up and take it apart. One or two of these I might take it apart. That's what the blue box is for. It's got the bits that go into these hex star screws. I forget what they're called. But not on this one. Like I said, this was an inexpensive one that I was like, oh cool, I can get a hinderer for inexpensive. Actually, this was a Christmas present. Someone hooked me up with some gift cards, and I was like, yeah, let me get that. So I'm gonna wipe this bad boy. Wait, not with the Kojo oil. Maybe that's all I'll do to it. Yeah, I gotta sharpen some of these. I've been using them for a while, and you know, back when I used to work at a blade store, we were really fastidious about this stuff. We'd be sharpening them all the time. Well, clarification, I would have my coworker sharpening them all the time. I don't have a super steady hand, which I know, blades, but as such, I never got the skill down quite as well, so I need to get me some stones and start learning that. Something else you might notice is that this bad boy has like a coating, has like a gray coloration. Some people like that, some people don't. Sometimes it's a powder coat, like on car parts. Sometimes it's just a paint or a cover. I like it because it adds an extra layer of protection from the environment to the blade, which keeps it going longer. But that's just a personal preference. You know, some people are like, it blacks it out so you can't see it at night. I'm like, don't be that guy. That guy's lonely, and he's funny to talk about, but if you're stuck at a store where you have to talk to that guy for 5 hours, he's not funny anymore. Anyway, this knife is a $300 knife. This is a Strider. Let's see, 154 cm steel blade, Zytel scale on the outside, flame anodized titanium for the frame lock. This one I got from a very dear friend who had two, and I was like, yo, he was like, I'm selling it, you want it? I was like, yeah. So shout out to Shamrock, my friend who was a bit younger than me, who has his own little forge and belts and everything. This is a Yorick bead from County Com. They're actually local to the Bay Area, so hit them up, order some prepper stuff. And yeah, a little bit of paracord and a little cool dangly to hold on to. Yeah, this one, I haven't cleaned this one in a while, so this one might get a little more attention. So yeah, hit it with some talc. Make sure I'm getting the goo up. And actually, this is getting to be a situation. I should have grabbed a paper bag, a plastic bag for something for this, but oh well. Here we go. We're doing it live. So while I get getting into this thing, we went over those other three aspects of Frontchill. Let me talk to you about the Dysoning. The Dysoning is going to be the umbrella show term for, oh yeah, it's coming right off. See? You get that coat so that the gunk stays on the coat, not in the steel. Anyway, sorry. Things I get excited by. The Dysoning is our TT RPG channel, and currently, because it's something I'm super passionate about, something I typically have energy for, I'm running two different Dysoning games on our channel. One I mentioned earlier, I think, Ataric's Crew, which is our 5th edition D&D game with Yev, Miss Elisa Face, Sailor Trash Face, slash Legs McCoy, Theater Geek slash JC, that Miss Lisa Lisa slash Miss Lisa Lisa, and did I say Yev Yev? Yep, Yev Yev's playing the D&D with us, and that's a homebrew setting, set in 5e. We've mixed in some deities and races from other campaign settings, and it's goofy, it's fun, and we did a dress-up episode recently. It is live on the YouTubes, so if you get bored here, which I wouldn't blame you, but I'm trying to keep it interesting, go check out the YouTube channel. Go watch an episode of that. Come on back. I'll probably be here. I've got a lot of these that I have not been doing. But you are going to want to come back, because as teased earlier, I have a special guest blade from Epion Avenger it's awesome. It's so freaking rad. Can't wait to get to it. I'm warming up to it, you know. Got to make sure I've got the moves down before I attack the big dog. So, stick with us. So yeah, so this one's got some ornery pieces on it, which is fine. I beat up this blade. I buy these items for their functionality. I do not baby them. I do not worship them, but I do try and maintain them, as you can see. So they get gunky, they get chipped, they get touched by high schoolers, which I try not to let happen, but you know, just trying to help out the school, lend them some gear. It's good times. So yeah, so D&D 5e, A Tark's Crew, that's that show. I'm hoping next month we'll actually be streaming those games as well when we play them, a little before they go up on YouTube. I have a chance to edit them, you know, that sort of thing. Let's see here. Are we still listening to Yowie tracks? Let's see. Later, Herd. Thanks for stopping by. Maybe he'll stop by a little later. We're still on Yowie tracks. Nice. Nice. Oh yeah, we're going down that channel. Okay. Let's see here. Is that? Let me change the aspect view on this thing so you can see what's actually playing. Yeah. All right. Don't worry. Things are gonna shift. There we go. Actually, let me even. They're gonna shift again. Don't freak out. There we go. All right. That way you can actually see what's playing. Yeah, if you showed up a little late, the music, which I hope isn't too loud or too quiet, I know I hear it, is an artist called Yowie Tracks. He's got a bunch of free music, which I am indeed using for a couple of these shows. So shout out to him. Go check out his stuff. Throw him some cash. I know we're gonna do that when we start generating some revenue. I'm gonna make sure I give back to the artists who help out with us, because that's what it's about. Helping out the people who help you. Oh yeah, there's some ornery stuff on there, but oh look at it come back out. Let me see if you can see this. So all along the edge there, the little silver part is just gunk from cardboard boxes, really. Cardboard boxes. That's what does it. It's just the gunk from the tape gets up on there and it sticks, and then living with two cats and being a human who sheds skin just gets all gross. And so a little of the good stuff will do you. Actually, let me get just a little more on there. Close off so I don't knock lighter fluid all over the floor of the library. My cats try and smell everything as is. I'll give them a real snootful. Oh yeah, pro tip for blades. Cut away. you know, move your hands away from the blade, away from the edge, away from the cutting part. So that way, even if you goof up a little, you're in that motion. You will try and continue that motion away, and you know, never cut towards yourself. Always cut away, so that if you continue a motion, you're cutting away. Little basics. If any impressionable individuals are like, ooh, I want knives, I want swords, don't be smart about it. All right, they are still. I consider them tools, you know, and like any tool, you need to maintain it and respect it so that it performs as expected, when expected, and doesn't do you dirty. I keep getting distracted. So yeah, D&D 5e, a Tark screw. But also, but wait, there's more. By popular demand that is no longer demanding, we are playing another game, which there are episodes up for live, which we're doing a game Wednesday. I don't think we're going to stream that game, but it is going to be up on YouTube shortly after it gets played. Silicon Valley by Night. As some people may know, the cloud company Backblaze has sponsored LA by Night a few times. Shout out to Jason Carl. Shout out to Erika Ishii, who plays in that game, who we follow on social media, doing her drills, stage combat drills. I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what's up. Keeping in shape, keeping your skills tight. Excellent method. Excellent. That's a professional keeping their instrument in shape, in tune. So she's got like a gladius or something at home that she was working out with, and I was like, I know those moves. I teach people that. That's what's up. Yeah, if you didn't catch that earlier, I have a background of stage combat, of theater, fight choreography, being in fights and designing fights, which is pretty cool. You know, it's cool. It's all right. It's good times, bro. There's just a couple pieces on there that are, I feel like. Doesn't it feel like they've pitted in? Like, it doesn't feel like they've got through the layer. You can usually get just a little, like, snag on it when you scratch at it. But just a couple of dots on there. I don't know if the camera can pick it up. Let me see if I can. There's like a couple dots. Like, little dotting in there. Maybe if you got... You know, I don't know. I think this is picking up at least at 720. This guy's 720. This one's 10. This guy's 1080. So we'll see how much the quality differs. But I don't know if it picks it up. I'll get to see in the playback, so that'll be interesting. All right. Well, I've rubbed this thing enough like it's a genie. Let me wipe it down, and we'll hit it with some of that koji. Call it good. Because the edge is the important part. And those little dots, the little dots concern me, but they're not, like I said, I'm not feeling the snag, I'm not feeling a divot, so they might just be variances in the coat on the blade. So it should be good. It should be fine. It's fine. It's alright. I mean, if it starts to really be an issue in the next couple of years, I'll just have to get another one. Oh no. It's definitely served its tenure in my collection thus far, so retiring it would not make me overly upset. But I'd rather not. I like it. I want to keep it in the family. So yeah, let's get that blade nice and saturated. Let's soak up that koji. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna leave that. Let it do its business for a minute before I close it up. Now this stuff definitely will pull carbon off of steel to clean it up a bit more. And I maybe should have used that on the Scramasaxes, but meh, they're fine. They're fine. Let's see, what next? Oh, let's go to what I have in my pockets. So I've got a William Henry 710 and a Spyderco. Start. Okay, that's also another way you can, because everything has such an odd smell, you get used to what certain things are, and so if you're like, wait, what did I use this one for? You can tell. So that's fun. Alright. So yeah, Silicon Valley by night. Yeah, so Backblaze sponsored LA by night. I got distracted. Which was awesome. And Yev has made a couple guest appearances as part of commercials for that. And someone made a lore sheet for Yev. Actually, a couple people made lore sheets for Yev's based off the Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition lore sheet mechanic optional rule. And there was a call for Backblaze by night. And although I feel that's a little on the nose, I was like, Yev called me out on Twitter. I was like, I don't know, Hatter. How about a Backblaze by night? And I was like, all right. Stop guessing the future, because I had already started plans for a 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade game set in California Bay Area, the Silicon Valley. So, like I said, check out the YouTube. We've got a couple episodes up already. We've got another game planned for Wednesday, which I don't think we're going to stream. Not this one, but probably next month we're going to start streaming them before they go up on the YouTube. And then, yeah, so you can get caught up, see what's going on. It's a little bit of a cat herding experience currently with the different vampires we're playing with. We got Yev, we've got Miss Lisa, we've got at Miss Lisa Face, we've got Sailor Trash Face slash Legs McCoy in that game, as well as Doomsayer, who is one of the gents who's, in addition to Yev, helping make this all possible. So shout out to Doomsayer. He plays Z in our game. He's playing a Malkavian, and I'm loving every moment of the chaotic energy he's bringing to it. So yeah, check that out. And so it's really common that when you wear a pocket knife in your pocket lamp gets up in those little nooks and crannies, especially when you have it oiled, it'll start to grab fibers. So I'm just checking to see if I need to like blow it out anymore, that sort of thing. Now that I'm getting this back into my system, back into a habit of cleaning blades, I'm probably gonna find another time to actually take these apart later and give them that deep cleaning, give them that spa treatment. play some spa episodes on Crunchyroll and get all weird with it. Because yeah, we're anime nerds around here too. We do love our Japanese animation. There is a significant portion of the Frontchillers who are learning or learning Japanese. Bunch of Japanophiles. Which hey, it's a cool island, cool people, cool culture. Spoilers. One of the blades we're gonna do later. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Anyway, so this blade, this is a Spyderco. Forgot the name. Spyderco. Damn, I forgot. So, like any weird nerd, when you get a cool enough item, you give it a name. We named this one Solstice when I got it, me and some of my friends at the time, as it was sort of a holiday situation when I got it. Oh, it's a Sage! Haha! It's a Spyderco Sage. They made several versions of the Sage. This one was a nod to Chris Reeves. Not Chris Reeves. Yeah, Chris Reeves. Chris Reeves, not the Superman. There is a Chris Reeve knife company in Idaho. It's been a while. And he's known for being a high-end handcrafter that uses S30V steel, which is a stainless. It's a high-grade stainless, as well as aircraft-grade titanium. So that's what they put on this blade to be like, yo, Chris Reeve, we see you. What's up? And because it is a higher corrosion resistance because of the CPM, that's a powdered steel, S30V, I call this one my food knife. I use it when I need to like break up a sandwich or a piece of cake or something that me and the wife are sharing. So this one gets a little extra care, and that's honestly, like, I don't carry many knives on me now because I'm not really going anywhere. But when I used to go out all the time, the EDC, or everyday carry, often included 3 knives. This one for food stuff, right? This is the clean knife, so you know, if anything's going in my mouth, it's gonna be cut using this bad boy, and then I clean it off as soon as I get home. You know, that sort of thing. I would also carry, so this guy actually has the clip swapped over. You'll notice that the pocket clip is on the left side. So this was actually sitting in my left pocket because that's where the food knife would be. And then in my right pocket, I would carry my break stuff knife because that was usually my bigger knife that I would use to break stuff, big boxes, you know, heavier duty jobs, that sort of thing. This McHenry & Williams 710 by Benchmade is the knife of knives. Check it out. Shout out Armageddon. What's up, boys? We had these engraved when the shop closed down as sort of a goodbye gift. We all pitched in. Shamrock's waifu, weeaboo girlfriend. Actually, she was part Japanese, if I remember correctly, maybe. Made this with the TI bead on there. So lots of history in the... Oh yeah, she also made these for sale at the shop when we had it, so I put one of those on there. Arts and crafts with your knives, yes. Swapped out the clips because by default they came with just a plain black clip. And oh yeah, you lick, you bleed, you break, you buy was our mantra at the shop. We'll get into that later. What was this? It was a blank. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is a a lot of people would consider the 710 by Benchmade the perfect knife, perfect pocket knife. It was at a reasonable price mark comparatively, as these are high-end blades, so it was still a pretty penny. But it wasn't $500 like a Hinderer, and it wasn't $50 like the cheap Hinderer I have. They don't make them anymore. I don't know what they consider the replacement for this, but they ran this knife for, God, over a decade, and it was so hard to top because it's got G10 handle scales, which are a high-end, basically a real fancy-ass plastic fiberglass mixture, and D2 blade steel. D2 is technically a high carbon in that it doesn't have enough chromium to technically count as a stainless steel. And it is very hard, but also has a good tensile strength, so its edge retention is badonkulars. And because it's a tool steel, the steel is readily available in large enough amounts that it's not a crazy high-end exotic steel, so its edge retention is excellent without being crazy expensive for the type of steel it is. And a pocket knife is intended to be a cutting tool, so a handle that you can use as a hammer with a blade steel that lasts and lasts and lasts as an edge, but also has a good tensile strength. It's just got a great grip. You can choke up on it, you can sit back on it, and it's got a nice even belly. You know, it's just a great knife for using as a knife. It's when you start using knives for things that knives aren't typically used for, is when you start getting into stuff that, you know, you get into like Tonto tips and other crazy things. It's just, I'm like, no, that's the whole point, is it's a cutting tool. Anyway, if I can't soapbox here, where can I soapbox? Ooh. So yeah, this one has a good amount of gunk on it, because even though this is a special, ooh, me and my friends used to work here sort of blade, I use it. I don't want nothing I can't use. Still got all the same stuff on the as the OG version. Let me use it. Anyway. So yeah, this is the stream where we see if Tony can talk for 6 hours straight. How long have I been going? Hour and a half? Cool. Cool. Now is that gunk or is that a chip? Ah, it's gunk. Alright. The lighter fluid. The lighter fluid, baby. The lighter fluid plays. And you gotta watch out behind the thumb stud, because it gets real nice and gnarly in there, and it's easy not to clean, because you're like, I don't want to get up in there. It's a tiny little crack. It's annoying. Anyway. What is this? What is this? Clean blade. Nothing like it. So good. Well, I got a little coloration at the top there, which makes me nervous, because, like I said, D2 is technically not stainless, so it is a little more susceptible to bad things happening to it. like rust, like oxidization. So this one I'm actually going to hit with the steel glow because this is my baby. I want it to be nice and pretty. I don't mind pulling off a little bit of the carbon off the edge there. Let's see if this stuff is... Oh yeah, that's the stuff. There we go. Just a... Ooh. Separate it a little bit. See if we can get it out the cap there. There we go. You stay over there. Just gonna give it a little bit. A little bit. Cap back on there. Mix it back up. So it's separating a little. Yeesh. You know, I never looked if this had an expiration date or not. Anyway, see, I'm going to let that sit for just a bit, because otherwise it'll get real, well, it'll get in a little bit, but it should be fine. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's what's up. I'm just gonna toss that because I don't want that badness sitting up here in case I pull up another blade. Are we still playing Yo-Yo tracks? Let me take a look here. Yeah. Good boy. Dude is like prolific. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway. Cool. Make sure we get all the gunk off. Nice. Nice. Here, while I'm at this, let me check my itinerary real quick. Make sure I'm covering all the points. See here. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, let's go back down the list. So if you're tuning in later, weren't here when we first started up, welcome. Howdy. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, this was the mystery stream. Is I'm cleaning all my blades. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you won't. I mean, at the very least, you'll have learned that I have a ton of items like this, which is interesting, I guess, to some people. This is Frontchill. We are all about games and gaming and stuff like that. How does that fit in? Well, glad you asked. I consider this under the purview of what I call Pip and Pixel, sort of the about games format slash header. Yeah, let's use that, because if you're the kind of nerd who's super into gaming, so much so that you like to talk about, you know, systems and mechanics and engines and background and potential effects and that sort of thing, you may also be nerdy about other things that are elaborate and complex. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about and clean my blades on stream while I introduce the channel a bit more. And so here we are. Right now I'm going over the pocket knives, a few of my pocket knives. I'm going to switch back over to the bigger boys in a little bit once I'm done with this guy and my little guy there. But yeah. Shout out to Yev, Doomsayer, and Nomad, who are founders of the Feast, so to speak. They've been sponsors of this project since last year, coming up on almost a year since we started developing the project. So big ups to those individuals who are helping make this dream a possibility, helping us get those videos up on the YouTube, as well as helping us rep our friends and fellow gamers around the interwebs. Let me specifically shout out to Heard Before, HeardBefore. He's a friend of ours who typically streams here on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays. He's on hiatus right now. He's coming back in August, but go follow his channel anyway. Watch a couple of the clips of him getting scared out of his pants. It's he really commits to it, and he really does not like playing those horror games, but we like watching him play those horror games, and he's a good friend, so he's willing to endure it for his friends, because once he's done getting his pants spooked off, he usually does a little bit of wind down time, maybe a little just chatting, a little MTG Arena, a little Slay the Spire, you know, just goofy stuff, fun stuff. And if you like your channels to have a ton of mods, that's the channel for you. Our buddies Danbot, Hot Black, Zizix, and Koozie Time are all mods up in that channel. There might be more, I don't know. I don't remember. But speaking of which, Koozie Time, KOOZIETIME, is another channel that we host. We host Heard Before as well. Koozie Time's helping fill that void that we're waiting for Heard Before to refill. And quite frankly, watching Koozie Time play Harufu Boyfriend and do the voice for all those high school birds is one of my new favorite jams. So shout out Koozie Time. Way to romance those birds. That's what it's about. On top of that, yeah, as far as our streaming schedule, this is probably going to be it for this month. Maybe we'll do next Wednesday evening, when we play Silicon Valley by Night, but we'll see. We've got a few little things we're working out on that, so we'll see how that goes. But and yeah, back to the EDC situation. And I would usually carry this guy as well as a third knife. Yes, a third knife. Because this one is a little guy. Just a little cute one. And, you know, if you're in mixed company and the people you're hanging out with aren't super into blade culture or whatever else, you know, you want to open something and you don't want to just be like clack, you know, with that bad boy, which quite frankly spooks some people who, you know, only associate them as weapons, which, you know, this little guy is not offensive. So, you know, plus it got the little gemstones on there, helps dress it up. And yeah, those are legit sapphires. They may be lab-grown sapphires, but they are real nonetheless. So there, it's cool. This here used to be blue, but I've had it so long that the anodization has worn down. I've been meaning to send this one back in to have them re-anodize it, because lifetime warranty, baby! And yeah, they do that. So, William Henry is the name of the brand. This was a limited run. You can actually see. Let me get the camera back up. You can actually see on the top of there. I'm moving it slowly. I'm hoping it focuses. I can't really tell from where I'm looking right now. You can see that they're serial numbered. Oh, it's upside down. And this one is number 106 of 500. So that's it. This one's sibling 106 out of 500 that will ever be made. So, you know, limited run, good stuff. You know, shiny. Super cool. If you can see super close on your big shiny 4K screen, you might notice that there's a little line running along the edge of the blade. This is because the core of the steel, the middle of the blade, is ZDP 189, which is one of those more rare exotic steels I was talking about earlier. It's basically D2 on steroids, in that it is more prone to rusting, but is harder, which means it has longer edge retention. I believe I believe it is not as good as far as tensile strength, so it is a little more brittle. But to compensate for that, you put that like coat steel over the top of it along the spine and along its midsection, so that it has a steel to protect the core and blade, and so you can sharpen it little by little for a while, shining up its edges. Ooh, it's almost 4 o'clock. Yeah. I think after I'm done with this bad boy, I'm gonna clean up just a little bit, and then we're gonna bust out the big gun, our special guest blade, so that I can say I've crossed it off the list and gotten it done for our friend Epion Avenger. And then I got 1 or maybe 2 more after that. And quite frankly, this is taking longer than I anticipated. Well, I guess I had more than I thought. Somehow my brain doesn't think there's that many, but I think I have a collection. I'm not going to say I have a problem. I'm going to say I have a collection. It's kind of a problem, but who knows? Maybe I'll do a shorter one later. I don't know if people are interested enough in these blades and what they're made of and who they're by, that another one would be viable, you know. Shout out in the comments, shout out on social media. You know, let me know if you'd be interested in seeing some of the rest of the collection, learning about it, that sort of thing. Oh yeah, so I've talked about the blade and the gemstones. The handle is titanium as well, aircraft grade titanium. Probably just means they get it from the same billets. This is a button lock. This little button up here sits in the tang of the blade inside, and that's how it clicks open and closed. You may have noticed a couple of these other were frame lock and liner locks. That means the frame or the liner sits under the tang of the blade inside the handle to lock it open, and so you move it out of the side to close it. And then the Benchmade is an axis lock. That's a bolt that slides up behind the back of the tang, which keeps it locked open. That one's cool. I like that one. I have two others actually. Maybe we'll get to them later on. But yeah. So we go. Yeah, S30V. Oh, and the very first knife I did, the Hinderer, is, I believe, 8CR13 MOV, which is a very sexy name for a blade steel, if you ask me. It's, so you may have heard of 440C stainless, or 420 stainless, or 440 stainless, and that is the inexpensive everyday steel, and on its own is not great. You can treat it, you can heat treat it to make it decent, but it's not going to have the same edge retention and tensile strength as some of these other higher grade steels that I have on these blades. Which most people never need more than that. Like, I will be the first to admit that some of these are kind of overkill, but you know, I like nice things. I like to know that it's a little bigger, a little badder, and I've invested in it to last longer. And yeah, most of these blades I've had for at least 5 years, if not 8 or 9. A couple of these I've had 11 plus years. So, you know, not just because they're big hunks of steel, but because they're good quality, they have lasted. So anyway. Nice. Nice. Alright, so I'm actually gonna clear some of this stuff because we're definitely not gonna need it for the next bad boy. At least we better not. God. Sure hope not. Anyone else just watch Hamilton? I got to see it live a year or two ago, not in New York. That's where I got the hat. So make way for the general. Yeah. So this is. So a couple of those. Make sure we're nice and prepped for what's coming up. I used to do at work back in the day. Like a handful of just turn into Edward Scissorhands. Nice. Alright, ladies and lads. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now our very dear friend Epion Avenger. This is his knife. This is his blade. And told him I was doing the stream. He was like, "Hey." He was like, "Oh yeah, I need to do that." And I was like, "Well, if you want, I'm gonna be there." So this is a legit katana. This bad boy, I'm gonna set aside his cleaning supplies. He has everything he needs. It's just been hanging out for a while. In its wrap, doing nothing. It's fine. This katana. Oh yeah, we got all the paperwork and everything. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I forget which katana this is. But we used to sell katanas in the shop by a company called Hanwei, Paul Chen, and they are good. Technically, it's from China. Yes. But don't let that fool you. These are they are blade artisans who studied under Japanese masters, studied in Japan, went back to China, where there's a large steel industry, to learn how to make katanas and blades and produce them. And that way they didn't have to deal with all the same laws and stuff of getting a blade out of Japan, which I don't know what they're like now, but back in the day they were difficult. So let's get reacquainted, shall we? Our friend Epion Avenger purchased this blade on the recommendation from myself and our friend Larry, Lawrence of Alave. Just call her Larry. She's super huge on the derby scene. She doesn't play derby herself. Her wife does. Shout out to Skirt. She actually does color commentary for derby bouts and meets when there is roller derby. So, when dealing with an actual katana that you want to, with blades in general, you're going to want to respect them. So, even in the shop, even like this, we do the bow. Even if you don't believe that there are spirits or metaphysical or that the blade has a soul, we would do the bow to acknowledge the respect for the item. Whereas a lot of my other items, I'm like, those are tools. I use this for this, I use that for this. This is, originally, its intent is as a weapon. So you want to make sure that you are respectful of it in handling it and your conduct with it, so that you are constantly being aware. But I also find them beautiful pieces of art with historical significance, as items that tell a story. Oh yeah! Oh, look at that ray skin, the black ray skin, the brown leather wrap. Now let's see, the pommel here usually has a little artwork. Let me see if I can get it on there. Let's see if it'll focus in. A little bit of artwork on the pommel. And then we're going to slide this bad boy down. Here we go. Oh yeah. Is this the tiger? Is the tiger? No. Tiger Elite? There's no tiger on it. I feel bad. I forget which one this was. Anyway. So here we go, continuing to unwrap it. Set its bag aside. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Here, let me get a good look at the Suba. That's the hilt. So rad. So awesome. Bring it around the other way, don't worry. You can see the art on there. So rad. Okay, and then, so how do you open a katana? So, typically, unless you're Rurouni Kenshin, told you we were anime nerds, the edge of the blade is at the outside of the curve, because the draw, there's actually iaido, which is the way the blade, the way the draw. I forget what the direct translation is, but basically it's the practice of just drawing the sword, which also usually translates into cut testing of big bamboo and tatami seaweed mats. So you want to hold this at your left, and then you grab the handle with the right, and then you break the scabbard seal with your left thumb, so that you know that the thumb's at the spine of the blade where there's no edge, and your fingers are safely away from the area where there will shortly be 3 feet of razor blade. So, here we break. So one more bow just to remind ourselves. Break. Hello, hello, hello. Oh yes. This katana is folded steel. Oh, yes. I believe this is the Tiger Elite. The Tiger Elite is a big, beefy boy of a blade. Very heavy. And I feel terrible because I forgot the blade steel. But it doesn't matter. It's folded. It's folded. Which means that multiple layers of different types of high carbon steel. Here, I'm going to bring this up for the camera to see. Were pounded and folded and pounded and folded to make this blade. Now this one I'm going to be super careful. I mean, obviously not to touch the edge, but also not to touch the steel, because you thought those other high carbons would pick up human goo. Oh, this one will just suck it up. Anyway, what is up, dude? I'm saying hello to the blade. Fun fact: most functional and practical blades have a full tang. That means the steel of the blade goes all the way into the handle. You can see from the points there where it's held to the tang. And if this anecdote is to be believed, originally katanas only had about a quarter tang. Japan's a small island, doesn't have a lot of steel reserves, so they didn't have the luxury of full tangs. Also, when you have a 3-foot razor blade, you don't need as much heavy power to go into your blade. You're looking to open things up, not bash through them. Anyway, oh, chef's kiss, so good. So you may notice the wavy lines, how they're erratic. That is because of the clay treatment they use when they heat treat it. It is a thinner clay at the spine, a thinner clay at the edge when they heat treat it, so that the steel forms its matrices different than the spine, making it more brittle and hold a more fine edge, whereas the spine is a little softer, a little better tensile strength, creating that duality in one piece of steel. Which is why, if you see a katana for less than $100, for less than $200, and it's oh, there's a word for this. I'll remember it in a bit. Oh, I don't have timestamps on the chat. See ya. The weight, if you see this line at the edge and it's uniform, like a pattern, that is 99%. That's going to be a fake. It's not going to be a functional blade. It's not a proper heat treat. It was stamped onto there. Hamon, Hamon. Yes, that's what it's called. It's a hamon. Oh, so good. I haven't actually. So I don't have a katana. Never really wanted one. Like, I think having one would be cool. But holding this one, seeing it again, reminds me of how rad they are and how much artistry goes into them, and I'm like, maybe we'll consider it. Anyway, so let's get started on this beautiful beast. Sorry if you're not the tiger. I forget which one you are, but you are definitely an amazing blade, and we're going to treat you right, my friend. Alright, so let's get on to the powder. Good grip and even distribution. Now, forgive me if I don't respect the camera on this one entirely, but when you're holding 3 feet of razor blade, you want to pay attention to the blade. You want to give it that respect we were talking about. You know, it's a serious piece of equipment, and you want to treat it with the seriousness it deserves. Oh, speaking of that heat treat and the hamon, that same heat treatment that it gets to get that edge slightly breaks the tip, which gives it that line near the end, which, funny enough, doesn't actually show up that much on Tonto blades, which in theory is why it's called a Tonto style blade. But whatever, that's history. That's romanticizing things that aren't even that accurate. Anyway, so we're being super careful here, because one slip and it's a bad time. I'm gonna set it down for just a second. Is this still Yo tracks? Nope. Just restart it and put it on shuffle, so hopefully it'll still be our boy. I'm being very careful along the edge, because you want to make sure that you get the goo off, but if you push too far off the edge and then come back up on it, you might not realize that you've gone too far. And even now, I'm going to try not to breathe on it, because spitting out on it is just not good for it. just start back at the top of that channel. All right. So good. So good. All right. So good. Doesn't even really need it. But it's good to do it. So this one, we don't mess around. We're giving it all the oil. It'll be good. Start up with the spine. Just dab on down. We're not dabbing with this one. I'm not going to dab on the haters with this one. And then we'll let that oil sort of work its way in. We'll do another treatment here to the cloth. And we're just going to tap along the blade, get it nice and saturated, and you can see it here actually. That oil. That koji oil. Choji? I gotta look it up again. I forget. We just called it koji. We called it koji for years. No one ever corrected us. Maybe it wasn't koji, maybe it's choji, but you'd think that many weebs someone would have said something. Getting the glisten, getting that gleam. Oh, so heavy. Oh. Well, not so heavy. It's just a lot of blade, nice and thick. Oh yeah. Just let the weight of the paper towel coat the blade, because you do not want to put any pressure at all really on the edge of that blade. Similar with this, I'm pinching a little bit below where the edge is and just letting the weight of the paper towels push against the edge, because you don't want to touch that edge. It's a bad situation. And with the koji oil, we don't dry it off. Although, I'm going to give it a little scrub. Because the spine does typically contact the scabbard, which it's a little bit of grime on the blade, but you know, so you want it clean, make sure it's nice and shiny, but it shouldn't hurt the blade at all. Beautiful. So fresh and so clean, clean. And we're going to get one more for one last coat of the blade. Because quite honestly, the mineral oil, I mean, you know, could keep it soaked in this stuff and it would be fine. I'm just hitting it once more because I don't like the little pieces of paper towel that get stuck on there. So this should help pull those off. So we'll do one more pass on the spine. Pass on the blade. Pass on the blade. Beautiful. Beautiful. Like, it really does all the work for you. It's just so rad. Alright. Thanks for joining us. Thanking the blade. And you slide on the spine to make sure you don't run the edge along the inside of the scabbard, and then make sure it seats properly. Oh, so good. So good. Thanks again at Beyond Avenger for letting me do your chores. If only all chores were so beautiful. And I didn't even use any of his stuff. So I think we're going to do one more Japanese blade, because I have a Japanese fixed blade that I haven't cleaned in a long time that I want to make sure I get done today. It's not quite this big, but no less awesome in my opinion. I mean, it's mine. And then we'll call it a day. Oh, so good. So let me close this back off, because we'll have been at it for, we're already been at it for 2 hours. Let me see here, what's my clock say? Yeah, 2:20. So things are running a little long, but that's fine. We're having fun. We're chilling out. We got the soothing tones of Yowie tracks. paperwork back in there. Make sure it's nice and shiny. Anyway, hello again and welcome to the stream if you're just joining in. Don't worry, I'll be posting this on YouTube later, so you can check out what this was all about. It's a genuine folded steel katana. Not mine. I don't have one, but after cleaning this one, I might have to go get one. Because I like it. It's good. It's nice. Might not have rolled it in there right, but the katana's comfy, and that's all that matters. As we continue our journey on the island, we have my Japanese blade, an 11-inch, 12-layer blue steel katana. Fixed blade. Still thinking about the katana. Real quick, let me get another splash in. There we go. Got some hardware there to drop carry it. Alright. Piece bond. Keep it locked in. Sexy fittings. Alright. And this one I treat a lot like I do katanas, because it's a high carbon blade, very sensitive steel. Well, yes, very sensitive steel, relatively. Yeah, we're gonna do all the normal stuff with it. We're gonna wipe it down, make sure we got all the gunk off of it. So this one's made by a company called Kanetsune, and they're still around. Go check them out. They're still doing the good work. I've actually been, in addition to now wanting a katana, because that Hanwei put the hunger back in me. I've kind of been wanting another one of these, just to collect. I have no use for it. I rarely go camping or do much outdoor activity that would even hint at potentially needing a blade this serious. And even then, to be honest, I kind of want a couple tops knives, which are a little more paramilitary, a little more built out and beefy, that I would feel less bad abusing for work, for survival camping purposes. But I mean, you know, look at this thing. It's so rad. Look, I mean, just the handle, the blade, the kanji, katakana. I can never get that right. I'll Google it later. It's just so neat. And I think there was like a small set, like a couple more like this, that sort of matched when this one came out. We actually had two of these in our shop when I was working at the shop, and I almost bought both, but I managed to sell off the other one. Went to a good home, to a nice family. So I was happy to see that, because having two of these is a little bit overkill. Like, even I'll admit on that one. But I woulda. Anyway, because it's just so nice. So nice. Look at, oh, it's so good. Another fun thing, I don't know if the camera can pick it up or not. Let me see. So right along the edge of the blade, you may or may not see little lines, little slashes along the cutting edge there. Those denote. So I'm not 100% sure how they happen. I'm guessing that it is similar to running it through a belt grinder or something like that. But they get a blade like this gets those when it's been used for cut testing, because the fibers of the bamboo and the tatami abrade the blade. Yes, I have done cut testing with this knife. Several years back, a crew of friends, we got together for a cut party where we had some tatami mats and rigged up some ghetto cutting posts and just sort of went to town with our assorted items, you know, because we're mostly adults technically, and we respect the blades and we try to be careful with them, and you know, we want to play with our toys. My friend Shamrock, who I mentioned much earlier in this stream, is a licensed CMT. Also my buddy Commander Kiwi, who will be helping out with the next stream later on next month. 18.JUL.20. I don't know what time yet. I gotta figure that out. But 18.JUL.20, I'm gonna be doing a stream that my buddy Moose and Commander Kiwi are gonna help out with. Come check it out. It's gonna be hilarious. Anyway, so we felt pretty confident that so long as we were careful, paying attention, you know, that we'd be fine. And we were. Nobody hurt themselves, nobody lost any limbs that day. It was a good day. There are just the smallest bits of crust on here, and I don't know if it's oxidization or not, but I'm scared that it might be. So I'm gonna work on it a little bit. But yeah, if you're dropping by to see what's going on here, this is a bit of a unique situation. I'm cleaning my blades. doing a just chatting sort of thing. Welcome to Frontchill, this gaming channel, ostensibly. I say that this fits under the pretense of gaming, in that it fits our format of I Got Next, which when you see I Got Next as part of the channel or show or episode, it denotes that it is a scenario where it's about gaming, the sort of the meta, and in this case specifically, this is something that is games adjacent. Oh yeah, cleans it right up, because a lot of nerds are into various things such as collecting and knowledge, and this mixes those in strange and neat ways. Also, I'm outlining what the channel is all about. So if you've joined in late, weren't here earlier for some of the spiel, or missed some of the spiel, came back, Frontchill has been in the works since late last year, 2019, and the plan, the goal, is to make it into a fairly consistent content producing channel that does a tabletop role-playing game, or tabletop role-playing games, under the header of the Dicening. Currently we have 2 games running under the Dicening. One is Atark's Crew, that's a 5th edition D&D game I'm running for some pals. We just put up an episode on the YouTube channel, and there are a bunch of other episodes that have gone live. So check those out. And also Silicon Valley by Night, 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, rouse the hunger. Shout out to Jason Carl. We have Yev. Yev is canon. Yev isn't playing Yev in the game, which we talked about. We talked about briefly. There was a discussion where it was like, are you gonna play yourself? As of right now, no, he is not playing himself. That might change in the future. We'll see. But no, Yev is playing a different character. So those are RPGs, and then there's also another show hospice called Box Fort, where we play board games. Currently we'd have to do that on TTS or Board Game Arena, that sort of thing. Okay. And then the video games is I Got Next. A little shout out to the OG video gaming of arcade and LAN and console, of claiming the next game. Which we've actually been repping quite a bit on this channel because of our dear friends Heard Before and Koozie Time, who are doing the streamy streams. Heard Before is currently on hiatus. He'll be back in August. And then Koozie Time's been holding down the fort. Meanwhile, on Wednesdays, although he did one last night, Friday, go check out at Koozie Time on Twitch for a big old goofy stream with Yev, Dan Bott, who is a moderator for Heard Before, and they did some golf with friends. Good times there, lots of giggling. And then of course, Pip and Pixel. Pip and Pixel is the meta show. We did a podcast episode mistakenly. We thought we recorded it live. We thought we recorded face, but only got audio with a friend of ours who goes by Swooz, not to be confused with Swoozy, and another friend of ours who forget what his handle is, as I only interact with him with his real name. But yeah, we had a chat about retro gaming and, you know, playing the same games over and over. Because some games are just so good. You know, it's something comfortable, it's something you feel you're good at, something you have some competency. So you put in time and energy to one game, which is cool. But yeah, so that's sort of what those are the hopes and dreams of the channel. We'll see if we get to execute on any of those sooner than later. We're definitely going to start doing more streams here in the next month. I've definitely got 1 to 2 more streams planned under the Pip and Pixel / I Got Next banner. And as I'm already running games under the Dysoning banner, we will start to stream those hopefully sooner than later. We'll see how this one does. We'll see how the next one I have planned does, and we'll go from there. Yeah. So, for better or for worse, the only thing I know about this blade's steel is that it's blue steel. I don't know what its steel coat composition is. I don't know what type of root. Cat hair. I don't know what type of root billet it would have come from, but it's definitely a high carbon. It's definitely got a good edge retention. Like, I have used this blade for cut testing and some outdoor bushwhacking, and some other little goofy things. Whenever I had it on me and had the excuse to use it, and that's 6+ years, and really this edge is still gnarly sharp. But just like with the katana, I'm going to hit it once more with a bunch of oil, just so it has a nice coat while it hangs out in its box, because I don't know when I'm going to go camping again or be at a Ren Fair. I wear it to Ren Fair. Or hanging out with other blade nuts where, you know, carrying a 12-inch fixed blade on your hip is not seen as weird and potentially socially acceptable to others. So otherwise it's gonna stay chillin' in its home, in its box. But yeah, while I'm still sort of on the topic of the stream and the channel and such, give a yet another shout out to Yev, Nomad, and Doomsayer for helping make all this possible and to help keep it going, because we're going to keep it going. Oh, so good. and keep the gaming going and keep repping our friends who are doing it live. And let me go over my itinerary again real quick. Make sure I'm hitting all my points. Yep. Cool. Well, we covered it all, my friends. Alright, and just like we started it Mr. Rogers style, we're going to end it a little Mr. Rogers style. I'm going to tie this bad boy off, box it up, and I never usually tie it from this angle. It's usually on my hip. Alright, Frontchill fam. We did it. We did several hours of watching Hatter clean his knives, which is a very weird thing to say, to see, to watch, but you know what? Hey, we did it. We're here. We're hanging out. Just chatting. Alright. Won't you be my gamer? Let me see if there's anyone still in the chat, or if I'm just talking into the void now. Oh, we got a couple people. Cool. Even if only listening in. Sick. Cool. Good to have people around. Love it. Alright. So yeah, just gonna do a little last packing up. Go ahead and make some noise in the chat if you have any last questions. Curious about anything. And I can answer those burning. I can give you some hot A's for those burning Q's before we call it a day for this stream. Ooh, didn't screw that cap on. Pack up the goodies. Now these, for those who are curious, are chamois, just, you know, like you would clean a car with, and they're great because they're durable and they pick up moisture real well. And so day to day we would actually wear those around in the shop, wiping things down. I didn't use any this time because I had the paper towels and I wanted to get real down deep in there, and most of these were kind of grimy. So the chamois didn't really fit the kind of work I wanted to do with it. But for those of you who were curious, that was part of the uniform at Armageddon. So yeah. Alright. So we're gonna call it there. Ooh, just shy of the 3-hour mark. Only 2 3/4 hours. For those of you who've been here for most of it, thank you very much. Even if you only dropped in for a little bit, appreciate it. You know the drill. You click the thing and you click the thing and you follow the things, and you know, tell your friends. Cool? Alright. So thanks for joining me in my library, and hopefully we'll see you again sooner than later. Feel the love, y'all. Be cool. Alright? Love you guys. Night.